Hey everyone, and welcome to the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur Global Summit. My name is Heather Picken, and I'm inspired and, of course, on fire to really help you build your business to $10,000 or more of consistent income. And I have brought together some of the most amazing women entrepreneurs from all over the country to help you, to give you the strategies, and more importantly, talk about their own story, their own journey, because I know behind every successful woman there's a story. So we're going to get into that. We're going to dive deep into that conversation. And if you have found this to be helpful, if you have found a golden nugget of information, and that is my mission and purpose with each interview that I do, please hashtag now I forgot it, Woman on Fire Entrepreneur, WOEF, that stands for Woman on Fire Entrepreneur. Or actually, yeah, my dyslexic memory is jumbling it up, but you get the picture. We'll have it on the screen for you. But that is really to talk about what's going on with the video series, what inspires you the most. And another thing that you could do is you can invite people. Now, there's a very specific page, so you want to make sure you go to it. It's heatherpicken.com/onfire. So that will get people access to all the interviews, and the great thing is this isn't going away. I'm not going to take these interviews off. You're going to have access to these. So you can go back, you can actually take notes, and these women are giving you strategies and tips that you can implement right away. So that's the most exciting piece about it. Okay, so I want to talk about my expert guest today. I'm really excited to have her. Now, it's kind of a funny story behind this, and I forget if I've shared this with her, but I was working out at the gym, and part of what I do in my training regimen is I listen to a lot of radio shows, resources. I'm constantly on there, so my mind does not shut off because I'm always on fire. And so I got a link from Twitter, and it linked me to my guest, and I started listening to a radio show that she was on. I'm thinking, I've got to have this woman on. Like, she's on fire. She's got amazing tips to help women just like you to get your word out there, to get your message, to get your service and products out there. So I want to share a little bit about my guest. Her name is Linda Strick, and she is a nationally known publicist and media expert. She is the owner of Perfect PR, and she's based in LA. And she represents women just like you. So you're an author, you're an expert, you're a speaker, even if you're a musician. Now, the most impressive thing about her and her credibility is she has helped Dr. John Gray, and I don't know if you read his book, you probably have. It's a New York Times best-selling book. He is the author of many books, but the author of Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And Linda has also appeared on numerous TV and radio shows, including Good Morning America, 48 Hours, CBS Up to the Minute, and more. So I'm so excited, Linda, to have you as a guest. And before we dive right into this, give everyone your website URL. Where can people learn more about you?
Okay, great. And Heather, I am so excited to be here as well. My website is Perfect PR for you, all spelled out, FORYOU.com.
Excellent.
PerfectPR4U.com.
Excellent. And at the end of the interview, oh, great. And at the end of the interview, I'm not going to spoil it because you got to listen to it. She's got a very special gift, so you got to stay tuned for it. But Linda, let's go back to the story, because as you heard at the beginning, there's a story with every woman on her journey, her success story, her kind of breakthrough moment. So if you could take us to that breakthrough moment that for you really catapulted your business, that you really kind of knew that you were going to be doing this business. What was that moment? What were you thinking? What were even some of the challenges at that time?
Well, I've always had a very determination and drive to be successful in business, and I've had several careers. But my last career I was actually a nationally known expert, and I wanted to get on radio and TV. And I had hired several publicists, and nobody was successful doing it. Paid all this money, and nobody could do it. So I started researching how maybe I could do it myself. And I was able to do it. As you said earlier, I got myself on Good Morning America and many other shows. But in the midst of that, people were so impressed that they came up to me, and this was in Missouri, not LA, where you don't just get yourself on TV or run into a producer at the grocery store, you know. Said, how did you do that, and can you do it for me? And I realized that I loved the PR end of it. I loved that so much that it kind of directed me into that career. And my first client was sent to me by a referral. Somebody said, you know, can you possibly help this person get on TV and radio? And I had said, well, I don't know. I had actually worked for a PR firm prior to starting my own company because I wanted to learn the formalities. In other words, I got myself on TV and radio, but I didn't do it in a formal way. I didn't have a formal press release. I didn't know what a pitch angle was. I wanted to learn the ropes, and that's what I did working for this other publicity firm. And they were pretty well known. They represented a guy named Barry Sears, who wrote a very big diet book that revolutionized the diet industry, called The Zone, which I'm sure people have heard of. There's still Zone bars in grocery stores. So my boss knew what she was doing, so I knew I was getting the right training. But after I worked for her, I decided I wanted to go out on my own, but I didn't know quite how I could do it. And like I said, the first client was sent to me, and I didn't know how to do it. But I just got in there and created a press release and tried to get her on some shows. And the first client, I didn't get on any shows. You know what I mean? But then I got another client, and it built. And I got that client on. And then somebody told somebody else, and it built. And it takes time. You know, it takes time. It's not always an overnight, and then if you're not successful, as you know, because you're this incredible success coach, you just have to keep going. In anything, in losing weight, in anything that you do, you can't let a setback get you in the way, you know?
It's so true, and I just have to interject something really quick. I have to say, I probably wanted to give up more than you would ever even imagine, like throwing in the towel. So I'm so glad that you're bringing this up. Like, just because you have a little bump in the road doesn't mean you give up. That is what will keep you on that path to having a breakthrough. You're always like 3 feet short of having that breakthrough.
Totally, and I can tell you, when it comes to PR and publicity and getting on in the media, on TV and radio shows, especially national shows, and I know you asked me about national shows, and we talked about that it is more challenging. Persistence, persistence, persistence. And I have a client right now who wrote a diet book called Why Diets Are Failing Us. Great title. I actually have it right here, just so people can see what a great title looks like. I don't know if you can see that. And this is really interesting. You know, diets are a very big topic. It was almost January when everybody wants to put on diets. But the first show that I pitched, okay, I'm not going to say the name, was a major market in Chicago. I'm not going to say what network. There's a couple different shows in Chicago, meaning, you know, Fox, CBS, ABC, and one show is usually the top show, meaning it has the most viewers in that city. I'm not going to say, because I don't want to be biased towards shows right now, but I pitched one show. This wasn't the #1 show in Chicago for this client. And she came back to me and said, I don't understand what he's saying. I watched his video. I had a little video clip of him. I don't think anybody's going to get this. And I was shot down because that was my very first pitch with him. And I thought, well, maybe no one's going to want him. You know, I never really know. But I heard about another show in Chicago that was a new show that I didn't know about, which happened to be the #1 show in Chicago. You guys can figure out what it was. They booked him. They booked him even though the other show turned him down. Not only did they book him, they gave him a 12-minute segment, which is a double segment. Usually it's a 5 to 6 minute segment. His book went up the Amazon charts after he was on that show. It's still going up on the charts. There you go. Now, if I had given up and went, you know what, she's right, we've got to tweak his topic, or I've got to get another video on him, which sometimes you have to do. But I wasn't there yet. It was only my first show that I pitched. So it wasn't enough feedback for me to make the determination that, yes, I have to tweak something. So with anything, I mean, you just have to keep going, and rejection is there.
Right. I always say
the rejection factor is there, but
make failure your friend.
You can't take
absolutely. You can't, and I'm so glad that you're saying that, because women need to hear that. Just because something doesn't work out doesn't mean you stop. Some of the best conversations that I've had with billionaires, I would always say, what is the secret? Give me the secret sauce. And I was expecting them to come up with this big elaborate marketing plan, but it boiled down to persistence, being persistent. And that really stuck with me throughout the years. Like, I never let go of that golden nugget of information. It's persistence and perseverance and just really doing whatever it takes. So, Linda, let's talk a little bit about PR, because the topic that we're going to be talking about is really done for you PR. And what that is, how people can pitch the media to really grow their business. So what does that look like?
Absolutely. So here's the first step. So obviously I can't go through what I would go through with a client, and that brings me to that if anybody contacts me through my website, perfectprforyou.com, they can call me or they can email me. I will offer everybody that is listening to this a free PR consultation, so I can personally answer their questions. The first most important thing, and I know, Heather, me and you talked about this, is an angle or a pitch, and something that is newsworthy. Okay, so that is the most important thing, because PR promotion is basically like advertising. I mean, you're getting the word out. This is who I am. This is what I do. Call me. Call me. Buy my book. Buy my product. Buy my CD. Whatever it is that you're doing. Buy my coaching services. Whatever it is that you're doing. Okay? And you have to have a pitch or an angle that somebody in the media is going to say, wow, I want to put this on TV. Now, when this author, Peter Greenlaw, for Why Diets Are Failing Us, of that book, the reason I was more successful at getting him on that time, they put him on in the first week in January. What happens in the first week in January? Everybody wants to go on a diet and lose weight with their New Year's resolution. So it was a perfect pitch. It was newsworthy. Sometimes people have an angle right away. Like you, Heather, success and entrepreneur and women on fire, it's right there. You know, we could put you on TV right now and I know exactly what you would talk about, and you would give tips of how women can be successful or be entrepreneurs. Easy. Not everybody always has a developed pitch, and that's why people hire me. We develop a pitch, we create a press kit, talking points, and then we go to the shows and we knock on doors and we say, you got to have this person on. So whatever it is that you do, you have to create an angle. So love expert, you're how to fall in love. Well, that's your pitch. So Valentine's Day could be a good time, but why is somebody gonna put you in the media? Because you have something that's interesting that people want to hear about. Okay, so that is the first thing that you have to do, is you have to create a pitch, an angle that we call it, and then you have to create a press release. And you can Google press release and find out the formalities of it. It has to have a heading, it has to have a body, It has to have a description of who you are in your bio, but it doesn't. You can create your own little letter, your own little one sheet, but it needs to be a one sheet because producers and shows and news people do not have time to read a whole big thing. And I was doing PR, you know, before we emailed it. We used to Federal Express packets and books and everything. Now it's all through email. So especially through email, these shows get, you know, hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. And that's going to bring me to talking about how you contact shows, which is my next tip. But before you can even do that at all, you've got to know why they would get you on. And it's very good to have a little media reel of some sort. It can even be YouTube or something like that. It doesn't have to be formal. Obviously, if you haven't been on TV, you don't have a clip, okay? But that can help. That can help get you on radio. You don't need that. So that's my first tip. Now, do you want me to go into the second, how to contact shows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Heather?
You're on a roll.
Okay. So once you have your idea of, you know, you are now an expert, okay, and you want to get on a show talking about A, B, and Z. So Heather wants to get on a show talking about success. You know, how can you be successful? Six steps to success. Okay, how do you get on a show? Well, you don't necessarily call the number, you know, on the website, but sometimes you do. So we're going to talk about local shows because that's easier. We're going to talk about TV first. So local shows, so if you live in Dallas or you live in LA, you live in New York, you live in Chicago, you live in any city, Atlanta, your city, except the smaller cities don't always have this, but whatever's the closest, biggest city to you, you have probably at least three or four TV stations, ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS, whatever you have there, okay? And these are easy to find. So you go to the website or directory or whatever it is, you find the number to the newsroom or the front office. They're right on the websites. CBS Atlanta, it's right there on the website. You call up and you say, do you guys have a morning show where you have guests? Because every show, like here in LA, Fox has 2 interview shows. They have Good Day LA that I've booked clients on, which is the #1 show, morning show in LA where they interview guests. They also have a new show called Studio 11 that's on at 5 o'clock. Other than that, they're showing news. So you can't say, well, I want to get on at 3 o'clock. You have to know what shows they have, and if you don't know, you have to ask. If you hire me, I'll do it for you. But if you can do it yourself, but it takes navigating. So you would call and they'd say, oh, we have a morning show that takes guests, or they say, we don't take guests. We don't have any live interviews. All we do is news. Okay, thank you, goodbye. Usually there's 1 or 2 stations that does do interviews. Here in LA, CBS also does it. KTLA Channel 5 also does morning interviews. You know, this is a major market. And then you ask for the producer. So the person that you pitch or contact, it's the same thing with your pitch, with your story, which is you, is a producer. And now sometimes it's a little different for a major market. Sometimes it can be a news editor or somebody that answers the phone, but most likely it's a producer for the show. Say, who produces Good Day LA? And they'll say, Kathy Smith. And you'll say, okay, when can I reach her? Well, she's here from the hours of 10 and 12, Monday through Friday. You call up and you ask for Kathy Smith. You get her on the phone. You introduce yourself. You say, I have this great book. It's on, how to fall in love in 5 days or less. And I'd love to get on. Valentine's Day is coming on, and I'm nationally known. I have my own blog or whatever it is. And the next thing they're going to say to you, guaranteed, is, "Can you email me something? Can you email me a press release? Can you email me a blurb?" And that's what you do. And then most likely you have to follow up. They're not going to call you back even if they want you. 86% of everybody, of all my clients that I pitch, including John Gray, sometimes nobody gets back to me. Good Day New York, the #1 show in New York, has more viewers than the Today Show in New York, never got back to me about John Gray, and I knew they wanted him, and I had to keep calling and calling. Now I have relationships with these producers, and yes, they booked him. Same with another client I had who had a great book called The Cheat System Diet. She never got back to me. Why? Not because she wasn't interested, because she's so busy. But the most important tip, Heather, that I can, emphasize for PR and promotion, and I think anything in life, quite frankly, is follow-up. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Everybody has a story. You were talking about millionaires. Everybody has a story of, yeah, and then they rejected me, or, they wrote a movie and nobody picked it up, and then it was a huge hit, or actresses like Meryl Streep and Jim Carrey, they all have these stories of all the rejection. They kept persevering and following up with their agents or whatever it was. You have to follow up with PR. I follow up until I get an answer, and sometimes I have. There's a fine line between being too pushy. You can't call every day. I would say once a week. Email. If you don't get a response, you call. Some producers, it doesn't work with email. Some you have to call, but your first step is to try to get on a show in your own city or in another nearby city. And that's how you would do it. National shows, a completely different story. You can't access those phone numbers on the website. Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Good Morning America. There are resources that you can connect with. The one that I've used for years, they've changed the name, is called the Bacon's Television and Radio Guide. They used to have them in libraries or you could buy the book for a couple $100, and you could access this information. It would give you all the shows, national shows, local shows, and all the names of the producers and the phone numbers and the addresses. They discontinued that service, and you can somehow get it online. I don't know what it's called anymore, but if you just put in Bacon's, BACONS directory, and there's many, many more, you have to research it, but that's the only way to go for national shows. You cannot access those phone numbers. And then, of course, there's local radio and national radio. That's a little bit easier. National radio, it's the same thing. It's hard to get those phone numbers. There's a really big show that I book people on called Coast to Coast, which used to be, it might still be, the #1 national radio show in the country, over 26 million listeners. And it's a fantastic show, and I couldn't get that. The number that I have is not through the website. I mean, the number to the producer that I pitch is not on the website. But local radio shows, you find out the call letters, and you can get those phone numbers too. But if you want to try to get on national shows, you're going to have to go to the resources, pay a little money, and get the Bacon's Guide, which I think they've changed. I think you have to join them and pay, and then you can get some of these directories to these producers. But those are some. And everybody has a chance. Everybody has a chance to get on if you have a good topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not shy. You're articulate like Heather, and you can, you obviously, you couldn't be doing this, Heather, if you were shy or you weren't good on TV and radio. You couldn't be doing what you're doing. You couldn't be doing this teleseminar right now, video seminar.
Yeah, it is practice. It's years of practice.
That's well, yeah, but you have a natural ability to do it. But then the third biggest tip, and I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again, is you have to follow up. I'm going to tell you this story, And I had she's kind of a friend who is pretty well known, and she went to New York and did this PR seminar thing where she met a whole bunch of producers all in one room and from different shows and wrote down their names and got their cards. They all said that they wanted her on. She had created this new product that was very interesting, and you know, she was there live and met them. I mean, that's very unusual that you can meet all these people live. You're usually doing it over the phone. She got everybody's card. This one said they wanted her on, that one, you know. She gets back to LA and she doesn't follow up. Months go by and it's too late. Those people may not even be working there anymore. She told me the story. She spent like, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 just to go to this thing. I said, why didn't you call them up, the people that you met?
Crazy.
You know, she was busy, whatever the case is. The point is that they didn't call her. They'd met hundreds and maybe thousands of people at this thing, even if they wanted her on. And they were telling, you know, they were being sincere with her. They're not going to call her up. She would have had to, if she had called about 10 of them, I guarantee you she probably would have gotten on 1 or 2 of the shows because they might have remembered her. You have to do it right away, though. So if you pitch somebody your story within a week, about a week, you got to get back to them. You can't get back to them a month later. They're going to forget who you are.
That is a great point, and that is something that I
do
address.
Not leave, also, this is my rule, but do not leave a voicemail. Do not leave a voicemail. You can email. If you don't get a reply, call and say I emailed you. There's a producer. Okay, I'm not going to say the you know, because then people are going to know who the producer. But there's a show in LA that I book clients on, and this producer lately has been, he has booked at least 10 of my clients in the last year or two. And so I know he likes me, and I know he likes my clients, and I gave him a big box of chocolate for Christmas, and he says, oh, keep sending me pitches and I'll get clients on. I sent him a press release for a client, a success client, who also has a book called Success on Your Own Terms, a new client that I'm very, very excited about, James Russo, and nothing. I get no email back from him. A couple days later, I send it again. No email back from him to even know that he got it. And so, you know, a week goes by, a week and a half, and each day I'm calling and I'm getting the voicemail and I'm hanging up. Because look, if I leave a voicemail and he doesn't call me back, I can't call back the next day. It's like, are you kidding me? You're calling me again the next day? So he doesn't know that I've called him because I block my number when I call that many times. Yesterday, but each day, I 2 or 3 times I want to get this guy because I'm zooming in on this show for this client. I have a feeling he will book this guy. Yesterday I got him on the phone. Hi, how are you? I emailed you last week, this great author, Success on Your Own Terms. I know you're going to love them. And did you get it? Yes, I got it. Well, you didn't reply to my email. Oh, I know. You know, I said, okay, great. You got it. Great. So take a look at it and let me know. And he said, I totally will. He didn't say no, it's a pass. You know what? I'm going to have to follow up again next week. He may get back to me, he may not, but most of the people that I've got on, that's what I do. I follow up, and it's persistent. You have to be persistent, and you can't let the rejection factor stop you. I get a little nervous every time I call because I know that, you know, they might say no, and so what if they do, or you may be bothering them, or whatever the case is.
Gosh, this is
three
so
things.
helpful. Yeah.
3 things. Create a newsworthy pitch, angle, press kit, press release. Press kit is a little more involved because it includes talking points, which means interview questions that you would give them if you get booked, but that's post-booking, and we're not going to get into that now. Then contact producers. Email, call, find out what producers produce what shows that you could get on, contact them. And if you want national shows, go to the resources like Bacon's TV Guide or Google how you can find those resources. And 3, follow up. You do those 3 things, you will get yourself on. As far as what do you wear on and what do you say and all that, that's all. We don't have enough time for that. I could do a whole nother show on that. But you know, those are the meat of the 3 things that you have to do in order to get in the media. And that's the same for newspapers and magazines. That's a little bit different because you're dealing with editors and there's more lead time. So to get in a magazine, you might need months out. It's the same thing. They're going to do an article on how to fall in love in 5 days. Glamour's wants an article and they want you because you're a love expert. Or it's January and, you know, Dr. Oz wants you because you're talking about how to lose weight.
That is
or
so
anytime. Doesn't have to be camera. But that's another tip, which I know I threw it in without explaining. But the media is seasonal. So, you know, fashion for summer swimsuits. I had a fashion expert, and I was trying to get her on for summer. Actually, I couldn't, and I turned her around, and she did a closet. They wanted her for a closet makeover, something completely connected to her and her book, but not what I thought I would get her on for. And they brought closets on, and she did a before and after closet makeover of, you know, how to clean out your closet and organize your closet. Again, like I said, January and December, late November, you could, if you have something, if you're an exercise, you know, fitness person, you want to try to get yourself on in January, but you have to pitch ahead in order to do that. Same with magazines, same with newspapers. Back to school. If you are doing anything on parenting, you want to pitch it in August. Actually, school goes, we used to go back to school in September, now we go back to school in August, at least in California. So you in July, you know, back to school, how to, you know, I don't know, organize your kid's backpack, or what's the best school, or what, you know, if you're an expert in something related to back to school, kids' clothing, you know, I don't know. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes the seasons can help you. I personally got on Good Morning America because, and it was in January, it wasn't about diets, but it was about something else, creating a new you type thing. They said, oh, we're going to be doing this series in January, we're going to put you on. I didn't know it then because I was a rookie, I wasn't a publicist, but that is part of why I got on. Because it just happened to be that I fit into this series that they already knew they were going to be doing in November, in January. I pitched them in November, and they aired this thing in January.
I love that. So. I love that, Linda. This has been amazing. Some of the tips that you're sharing with us, and, you know, letting women know that it's easy. They can go out and do this if they want on their own. But I also know that you have a special offer for the women that are watching. You alluded to it a little bit ago, but what is that, and where, if you could give us the website again.
Okay, so I am offering anybody a free PR consultation over the phone, and you can go to my website, perfectpr4you@gmail.com. I'm not at Gmail. Okay, that's my email, perfectpr4you@gmail. But my website is perfectpr4you.com, and there you can find my phone number and my email. You can call me or email me, and we can set it up. And then I can do a more personal, you know, find out who you are. Are you an expert? Do you have a product? Are you a musician? Are you an author? What do you want to do? Sell books, sell products. You know, how can the media help you do that? So PR is more than the media. You know, PR starts when you call somebody on the phone for anything, to get a client or anything. I mean, it's just everywhere. But I help people get into the media. There's other kinds of publicists that, do events with people, celebrity publicists. They're doing all kinds of other things. And I can help you do that too.
I love that. Well,
And one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more thing I'm going to throw in, if I have a second, is that producers of shows love to talk to the guests directly. They love it. You don't have to have a publicist. And I want to be authentic here. I'd love for you to hire me, but when they're talking to you, it's basically an interview. They hear how you're going to sound on the air with that phone call. So there's nothing wrong with you doing it for yourself. You don't have to have a publicist. I did it for myself. It's easier because it is a job and you have to have time to do it. But don't worry about that part.
Absolutely. That's great. Linda, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
It went so fast.
I know.
My goodness.
I know. And I want to thank
you are an example of a successful woman, and your perseverance, and we can share that with Heather and I had a few technical problems. This is not the first time we tried to do this interview here, and they were on my end, not hers, but she's okay, can we do it again how about tomorrow, and I said, no, I can't. Well, how about this day? And I could just hear in your voice, Heather, your clear persistence, patience, perseverance, and your determination. And at that moment, I could feel your success, why you're successful, because you don't give up. And that's what you're teaching everybody else.
Well, thank you so much, Lydia. It's true. I'm like I've got a little dog. Okay. His name is Frankie Lee. He's a courageous little Chihuahua. So I think about that little persistent Chihuahua in me, and it's true. I say part of it is having dyslexia, having that learning disorder, made me do whatever it took, really overcome all those obstacles, all those challenges that I've had. So it is a blessing. And so I just want to wrap this up in letting all the viewers know that I appreciate all your feedback, and if you found this summit to be helpful, please hashtag WOFE. That's Woman on Fire Entrepreneur. I got it right this time, I think. But that's a way to really create more of a conversation, and then of course invite people to the summit. Make sure that you send them to the page heatherpicken.com/on fire. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope this session is really inspired you. It put you on fire, and now you're taking action. So we'll see everyone tuning in to your local TV or national news. Take care. Bye-bye.